to open today's meeting, the regular freeholder meeting of January 9th, 2019 will come to order. Roll call, please.
Freeholder Fantasia. Here. Freeholder Graham will be absent this evening. Freeholder Hertzberg.
Here.
Freeholder Patillo. Here. Freeholder Director Yardley.
Here. A moment of, we'll stand, have a moment of silence, and we put the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, adequate notice as defined by Section 3D of Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, has been made by regular mail, such notice being submitted on January 6, 2019, from the Administrative Center of the County of Sussex, located at 1 Spring Street, Newton, New Jersey, to the following: New Jersey Herald, New Jersey Sunday Herald, Star Ledger, WSUS Radio, WNNJ Radio, and is also posted on the bulletin board maintained in the Administrative Center for public announcements and has been submitted to the Sussex County Clerk in compliance with said act.
Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome.
Motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Sylvia Patillo, second.
Second.
Dawn Fantasia. Okay. We have a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Proclamations, certificates, and presentations. We have none at this time. Public hearings? None. Public session from the floor?
Comments are limited to 5 minutes or less and must only address issues regarding agenda items, followed by a 3-minute response time from the Freeholder Board. Please state your name and print your name and municipality on the sign-in sheet. And please speak loud and clear.
We have a motion to open the floor for public comment.
So moved.
Okay, Sylvia made the first motion. Second?
Second.
Josh Hertzberg. Okay, voice vote. In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to address the Freeholder Board on agenda items at this time? Seeing none, we will close the floor for public comment and return to regular business. Do I have a motion to close the...
Motion to close?
Second.
Okay, Josh Hertzberg, and a second by Sylvia Patillo. Freeholders' comments. A reminder to submit comments. Please keep your comments not too long. Sometimes that happens.
Reasonable.
Reasonable. Just a reminder to submit liaison assignments requested to the clerk by Monday, by January 14th. So if you can get those assignments you request in, I appreciate that. I'll have during my comment period, I have a few more things to say. So we'll start with Sylvia.
Well, Herb and I had the pleasure of going to a 100th birthday party the other day to honor Florence Meyer. They call Flossie. And I just wanted to relate to you some of her remarks because she was delightful, right? I said that she makes 100 look like the new 30. She was vibrant. She was, she was really active in her hearing and in her ability to reason. And for 100 years old, I mean, she was just an amazing woman. And she wanted to tell us why she lived to 100 and why she was in the shape that she was in. And she said that God had a plan for her, and she realized that. And that 99% of her mental health and her physical health have to do with her attitude, how she lived her life, how you go about with change. She felt that it was really important that people understood that change is a part of life, and you have to learn to accept it without getting upset about it. She was very funny. She was very open with her life, and she told us that it took 5 years for her to graduate from night school for high school graduation. And the reason it took so long was because she and her girlfriends would put all their money together and go see Frank Sinatra. So she would play hooky. She said she played hooky so many times that a 2-year stint took her 5 years. But she also wanted to say, I mean, if you looked, I'm not going to read it, but her proclamation is extremely long because of all the service and volunteerism she did throughout her entire life. And she said she wished she could keep going. She loved doing it. She loved being with people, and she loved having the ability to help others. So Flossie is definitely an inspiration to all of us, and hopefully we'll have another birthday party for 101 next year. The other thing I just want to mention quickly is that we have a flu epidemic going on. I'm sure everyone knows someone, or you yourself have been through it. And I want you to know that we're still giving those flu injections. The clinics are being held at the Office of Public Nursing from 2 to 4 on Mondays and Thursdays through February 2019. If you do not have or haven't had a flu vaccination, please make it a point to go up and have it. Okay, I just want to make sure that you know and understand that they're still going on. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Josh, would you like to make some comments?
Sure, I'm going to just want to recognize that January 11th is National Human Trafficking Awareness Day. That was begun by President Obama in 2010. And the month of January is also National Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Month. Just think it's important right now that we recognize that with all this talk about immigration and the border, and having worked down there, I saw firsthand how a lot of this gets in and out through that porous border. So I just want to recognize that and thank our District 24 legislators for sponsoring a Human Trafficking and Child Exploitation Prevention Act in New Jersey. So that's something that our district has been pioneering, and I think it's a great thing for us. So I also want to recognize Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. I think that's something that we should all be thankful for. We have a lot of great officers in all our Sussex County towns and the Sheriff's Office, and they put the badge on and put their lives on the line every day for us. So I want to acknowledge that.
Thanks.
When is Law Enforcement Day?
Today.
Oh, it's today.
Dawn?
Well, being that we've had about a week, my comments are short. Josh and I had the pleasure of meeting with Mr. Poff and his lines on Monday to kind of get acquainted with some of the procedures here, and we're planning our formal orientation. As far as the liaison assignments, I'm going to pass this to you. I did my homework, so that's there for me. I also started a rough sketch for the board's consideration for municipal liaisons, everyone's review and discussion. So I'll forward that to you and the rest of the board. I also received a phone call from Doreen Edwards from the TIC Squad. They're a group that does TIC education, and they're based out of Vernon, and I started following them in the summer, and I went to their presentation, and I've been kept in contact with that group. And she called to inform me that there's a couple students at the college that are in the agriculture department that are really interested in jumping in and kind of doing a partnership, an education partnership that perhaps goes to the schools to help boost some education on prevention of tick-borne illnesses. So that's just something that I think we will we'll see and hear a lot more of moving forward.
What's the name of the group?
They're called the TIC Squad.
The TIC Squad.
Mm-hmm.
Are they the group that we had here?
Yes.
Yeah, they were wonderful. They were really very informative.
I saw them, they were in Highland Lakes this summer, was the first time that I had seen them, and I know they had come to the board, but I think
Nice
more and more,
presentation.
it's gonna be more prevalent, kind of along the lines of mosquito control. I would not be surprised down the road to see, something more focused on tick control.
Well, thank you. First of all, thanks for your support for this position. I appreciate that. I wanted to say thank you all of you. And a couple issues with the liaison assignments. Please get those in by the 14th. And what I would be looking for this year is on a monthly basis, if each freeholder would be able to talk about one of their liaison departments and information coming out of that department. And what I'm looking at, let's for example, like the Sheriff's Department, they have 911, they have the jail, they have even Crime Stoppers, which is not part of the official sheriff's department, that's separate, so that we get a well-rounded look at what each department is doing. Same thing with senior
Health and Human Services.
Health and Human Services, how dare I forget that one. There's a multitude of things in there, so if you have that assignment, we're looking for not just, say, the social service or senior services. We want that information, but also health department, maybe restaurant, septics. And I would also ask that as we move forward, I may like to be asking for some presentations before the board on issues as we move to spring, mosquitoes and how we're handling that and whether we're prepared and what we can do to help. I think some presentations from the staff occasionally would be helpful to us and to the audience. I also want to just recognize our Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. And I think it's very important for all of those fire, police that are in the line of duty and are getting shot at and having to enforce many regulations. It's a difficult job they have, and I think we owe them our support. And as far as the National Slavery and Human Trafficking Month, I have to do some continuing education. I have a license, and I was fortunate and maybe not fortunate at the same time to have to take a course on human trafficking, and it is a horrible, horrendous thing. You're talking about young girls and young boys, 14 and below, the horrendous things that happen to them. And it is a horrible, difficult thing that can happen to someone, and whatever we can do to stop that and prosecute people, I think we need to do. Okay, and with that, let's move forward. Okay. Approval of the consent agenda.
The Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Sussex has reviewed the consent agenda consisting of various proposed resolutions and determined that adoption of said resolutions is in and will further the public interest. If any freeholder would like to remove an item to be considered separately, please do so now.
Is there anyone on the board that would like something removed from the consent agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
B, I had actually just a question about, but I would like F also to be considered separately.
Okay, so B, F, what else?
Just B and F on the consent agenda.
Okay. Okay, can I have a motion to take a vote now on consent agenda with B and F removed? Do you have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Sylvia,
Second.
what's that?
Second?
Okay, Sylvia was got that first, and Dawn the second. A roll call vote?
Freeholder Fantasia?
Yes.
Freeholder Graham? Oh, I'm sorry, he's absent. Freeholder Hertzberg?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Yardley?
Yes. Now we'll discuss those two items. Just clarification, the voting is done alphabetically by ordinance, which was established, so that you know why we vote in the sequence we vote. Okay, so what is it about B that you'd like to do?
B, I know it is a shared service agreement with the County of Morris providing services from the medical examiner. I do know that a shared service was, entered into and always seems attractive. I do know of 2 or 3 specific instances where individuals have lost a loved one and the response time of the medical examiner's office exceeds what I deem to be normal. We've had individuals that were waiting upwards of 9 hours to have the medical examiner come because they were spread over 3 counties. It's not just Sussex and Morris, there's a 3rd county involved. I'm not sure what that county is because I don't have that directly in front of me, but I'm wondering if that is something that we can, broach moving forward. I'm not saying as of today, but moving forward, I think in listening to the residents, I think there really is a need to re-examine that because that is an awfully long time to wait, especially in a very painful time with a deceased family member or friend in your home. there has to be a quicker response time.
Okay.
Do we know if that's something that's addressed in the contract?
Well, why don't we, what my suggestion would be, if, Kevin, if we can do this, can we this wait till the next meeting, Greg, Kevin, to be voted on?
As the resolution indicates, the county is mandated to maintain an office of the county medical examiner. I think Freeholder Fantasia said herself that, you know, her concerns may not necessarily be tied to the services that are currently being proposed. So I would suggest that unless there's any objection, it would be in the county's best interest to consider this. I would further suggest that we have a conversation with the prosecutor's office, who deals directly with the Office of the Medical Examiner. I have had conversations with the prosecutor, as the board will recall, or at least the previously sitting members of the board will recall. The county, Morris County, did have a change in medical examiner. So there is a new medical examiner in Morris County as of just the, I believe it was the fourth quarter of last year. But again, I would suggest that it would be in the county's interest to renew this agreement, then speak with the prosecutor, express what our concerns are, and then based upon his input, you know, we certainly could sit down with Morris County and, you know, have a discussion with them expressing what Freeholder Fantasia's concerns are.
Okay. And the other
Okay.
question was?
The other was Resolution F, which awards a contract for county counsel for legal services. It says to various vendors in the amount not to exceed $340,500. I understand that now the portfolio of attorneys has diversified. However, I have a couple pointed questions. One being $340,000. How was that number derived? I feel I would like, you know, more information looking at past years, what our anticipated legal expenses were. Also, even at the very least, a complete list of the attorneys, what their specialization is, what their hourly rate is, just in the interest of us knowing whether this number, you know, this number seems arbitrary, not knowing, you know,
Okay.
more information.
Yeah, say it's not an arbitrary number. However, I understand your concern. So what I would ask is that this be placed on, unless this creates a crisis, that this gets placed on the next agenda meeting.
Well, I'm glad you phrased it that way, because it certainly would,
Okay.
because this is, there are people on this list who have matters continuing from last year in pending cases.
Well,
That are in court, that are, you know, pending cases,
sure.
without
Yeah.
saying too much here, so.
No, I understand that, but allow me to be blunt when I say that's $340,000, and this is all the information I received is on a piece of paper, 4 sentences, that says, please sign away $340,000.
I would be blunt also,
Yeah.
if I saw that number.
Yes.
So, and certainly there's, we could explain that to whatever extent we would need to, and the reasons why, how we got here, and all of those things, and I wish we'd been able to say that before tonight, but my concern is not to set aside anything you want to talk about. It's just that these are, I'm saying it again, we just have pending. See, as we switch from the professional services agreements format that we use to the competitive business practice, the process rather that we put in place this year, it does envision people continuing to work here that are working here now. And I would show you that on the list and explain that too, but what I'd say to these people.
I'm just a little confused. On your electronic packet, all the background the
No, on
bids and
the long
everything?
thing, yeah, I understand that,
Oh,
but I
okay,
mean.
with the hourly
this-
rates and okay.
I'm saying, is that something that the public has access to be able to see?
It's on the
or-
website.
Perfect.
Oh,
Yes,
Okay.
that's all been posted.
That takes care of
yes.
that piece, but what
And the
I'm
whole
saying
process
is
was
for,
public, too.
for the number, again, the number originates from,
Well, there is a series of attorneys that comprise that number within that.
There's a series of functions that we have to.
And,
do.
right, various functions. Some of that has to do with the elected officials and their attorneys, and there's a whole series of that goes into it.
Mr. Director, I certainly would be happy to address as best as I could Freeholder Fantasia's concerns. The rate of compensation for each of the attorneys is $150 an hour. And the functional areas that the director and county council have mentioned include the county clerk's office and the board of elections, the sheriff's office, engineering and planning. There also are transactional items that comprise mostly of the variety of contracts that the county enters into. There is special counsel for records requests, representation of the county adjuster's office, a variety of legal services that are tendered for the Human Services Department, including representation in child support hearings. And so that is what comprises that number of special counsel. It's based upon estimates that were prepared as part of the board's desire to reconstitute or reconfigure the way that legal services would be provided within the county, which was based upon a presentation given to the board back in April of last year.
Okay, does anyone else have a question in regards to this? Josh, do you have anything?
No, good.
Do you have anything, Sylvia? Okay, so I'm going to ask, we'll take each one individually. The first motion was B, is that correct? At B?
Correct.
Okay. Can I have a,
Or we're gonna go through it?
we're going to go through with that because we need to do that, so, we can see what the vote is. But, so can I have a motion to approve that resolution?
So,
Have a second? I'm going to second it.
Which one are we on, Herb?
B.
B.
medical examiner.
Medical examiner. All right, I'll take that back and I can get you a second.
second. How's that?
Discussion? Okay, seeing no discussion, roll call.
Freeholder Fantasia?
Yes.
Freeholder Hertzberg?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Yardley?
Yes. Okay, the resolution F. Do I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion on this? Seeing none, roll call please.
Freeholder Fantasia?
Abstain?
Freeholder Hertzberg?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Yardley?
Yes. Okay, thank you. Approval of the minutes. I have a question for council. We have two brand-new members that were not here in December. And the same thing with the executive minutes, December. Should this wait until the next meeting? Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna,
I'm sorry, just a point of clarification. Could Freeholders Yardley and Patillo make the motion in second, for they are the majority of the eligible voting members?
Yes,
So you could approve it this
you can
evening.
do that.
I'd rather have George here.
For George,
I'd rather have
Okay.
George voting.
Yeah.
In case there's any changes in it. Appointment and or resignations. These are appointments remaining from the reorganization meeting. I ask for a motion to approve 12A to 12I.
So moved.
Or second.
I mean, I don't know any of these people. I
Well,
might even know some of them actually. but-
Okay.
I do have a question though.
Okay, so why don't we get a second? and then we can discuss that. Okay, is that correct?
Correct.
Let's have a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion. Okay.
I has reappointment of a member of the Board of Commissioners. I know who the individual is from looking at who is up for reappointment. I'm
Mhm.
just wondering if you could elaborate on that.
Well, most of these are reappointments to boards that have been existing. They've been long-term members on the boards we're talking about, and we have some reappointments, such as Donald Plotner, Dolan, Stevens, Skellinger, Open Space. We have appointments, Board of Quality Management, members of Sussex Disability Service, and we have the director here for many of these to speak. Many of these people, Richard Letcher, he, for example, is the member of SCARC, director of SCARC. So most of these on these boards are the Board of Alcohol. Most of these are boards that people have been on for long periods of times. They're not new people. They are known to me and board members for their service. Let's see here.
I think what Freeholder Fantasia was asking for is the name of the person who's being reappointed.
That's Andrea Kukula. I don't know why that's not here. It's Bunny Kukula, Andrea Kukula. She's been on there for a very long time.
The resolution expresses the name.
I don't see that on here.
You only have the title, but the
Yeah.
resolution does
Resolution.
contain the name.
Okay.
All right. Okay, is there further questioning? Going to ask for a vote.
Freeholder Fantasia?
Yes.
Freeholder Hertzberg?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director York?
Yes. A resolution requesting permission for the dedication by rider for the library donation trust required by NJSA 40A 5-29. Can I have a motion to approve the resolution?
So,
Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Josh Hertzberg, originally by
I had
You had the motion.
Bill Murray.
Yes.
Okay, is there a discussion? Roll call?
Freeholder Fantasia?
Yes.
Freeholder Hertzberg?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director York?
Establishment of a
You need
project.
to vote, I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought we did, I'm sorry.
You have to-
Skip
I didn't
skip
hear
the
you.
vote?
No, you
Roll
need
call?
to tell me if you're yes or
Oh,
no.
it
I
was
didn't hear
yes.
your response.
Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry. Okay.
Establishment of a project coordinator construction and salary range. Can I have a motion on this?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion?
Mr. Director, just for the board's benefit, this is the request to establish the title of Project Coordinator Construction in the Division of Facilities at the request of the Facilities Director. This is a position that is being established in anticipation of one of the senior members of the Facilities Division retiring, and provides for succession planning with the appropriate civil service title that previously was not in the appropriate union contract.
A roll call?
Freeholder Fantasia?
Yes.
Freeholder Hertzberg?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director York?
Establishment of a keyboarding clerk 3, purchase assistant, and salary range. Can I have a motion on that?
Moved. Second. Fantasia.
Dawn, and seconded by Sylvia. Okay, any roll call? Discussion on this? We have some discussion?
Freeholder Director, I would just mention that, again, this is a request of the Facilities Director in changing a keyboarding clerk's position to this keyboarding clerk purchasing assistant. Given the fact that the county has a relatively small purchasing department of 3 individuals, a lot of the sourcing of materials that are used by the Division of Facilities for the construction projects that are carried out on county-owned property requires the sourcing of much of that material by the division. When those requests are sent down to purchasing, purchasing is diligent in attempting to source those materials as well. But given the purchasing division's workload, it's not always consistent with the time frame that the Director of Facilities wishes to have those materials sourced. Again, it's a change in title. It's not effectively a new position. It's just a new title that the Facilities Director believes will allow for a more efficient sourcing of materials for the Division of Facilities.
This still goes through the Department of Purchasing, correct?
The sourcing of materials will be in accordance with the local public contracts law and does not absolve the Facilities Division from using the requisition process as established by the Office of Purchasing.
Thank you. Roll call?
Freeholder Fantasia?
Yes.
Freeholder Hertzberg?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Yardley?
Yes. Okay. Awards of contracts and change orders, bids, none. Financial, need a resolution to pay bills from December 26, 2018. Do I have a motion on that?
So moved.
I'll second that. So discussion. So the question is, we have two new members. I don't know how you feel about voting on bills from, you know,
And they weren't
It's a
here.
and they weren't here, so.
Buy yourself a new car?
No, you'll
You
be
noticed
fine,
that,
the
huh?
one after.
The Venus.
You're fine with A, but not B.
Yeah, I
We
know.
have three
Venus.
bill lists this evening.
Venus, yeah.
So for the first bill list that we're addressing right now, it's bill list dated December 26, to which eligible members are Freeholder Director Yardley and Freeholder Patillo. So being a majority of the eligible members, County Council, can we have a motion and second by those in
Yes.
just a roll call to which Freeholders Fantasia and Hertzberg would abstain? Okay.
Okay.
So roll call.
Roll call.
Freeholder Fantasia.
Abstain?
Freeholder Hertzberg.
Abstain.
Freeholder Patillo.
Yes.
And Freeholder Director Yardley.
Yes. Okay. And payment of bills for January 9th, 2019. Do I have a motion to approve the bill list?
So moved.
Second?
Oh, wait a minute, I probably should
No,
have moved
you're
that.
fine with
I'm okay
this
with
bill
the-
list, yes. We have a
The
split on
next
our
one.
bill list.
I see.
Okay.
We call it A and B. B, Freeholder Patillo is not eligible due to a conflict.
Okay, well, are we on B?
No,
We're
we're
on
on A.
Still on A.
Sorry, there's
That's
a little
long time
confusion
together.
tonight.
So sorry.
Can I proceed with roll call
Yep.
then? Okay. So Freeholder Fantasia?
Yes.
Freeholder Hertzberg?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Yardley?
Yes.
Okay.
Now we're on B.
Okay,
Now we're on
B,
B.
resolution payment of bills, January 9th, 2019. Do I have a motion?
Make that motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Dawn, maybe? Okay, discussion. Okay, roll call.
Freeholder Fantasia?
Yes.
Freeholder Hertzberg?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Abstain.
Freeholder Director Yardley?
Yes. Okay,
Alrighty.
are we
Thank
good?
you. A little confusing, but we got
All right, we have personnel resolution authorizing personnel agenda of January 9th, 2019. I need a motion to approve the personnel agenda.
Can we just get an explanation on that?
Sure.
Yeah, it would be appropriate for a motion and second to be done, and then
We're going to discuss it. I'll move it.
Okay, I'll second.
The personnel agenda for the board's benefit, in accordance with the county's hiring policy, the county administrator is permitted to take actions concerning personnel that is either equal to or less than whatever the existing position, title, number of hours, salary is. Anything that represents a change that is something greater than what the existing conditions are requires separate board approval. And I'm happy to go through each of these with you to give you a brief explanation. Within the Office of Transit, it's proposed to create a new part-time omnibus operator position This is a grant-funded position to provide for services that are no longer being provided by the Catholic Families and Community Services who had previously furnished that. The second is a change in title due to a desk audit, which the county is required to implement pursuant to civil service regulations. The Division of Library is seeking to change a title from Principal Library Assistant to Library Associate, which more accurately reflects the work that that individual will be performing on behalf of the library. And that request is at the request of the county's library director. And then you have from the Office of the County Clerk request to increase hours from 35 hours a week to 40 hours a week for a Clerk 1 position, again, by request of the County Clerk. It should be noted that most of the employees within the Office of the County Clerk are currently working a 40-hour work week.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Can I have a roll call, please?
Freeholder Fantasia?
Yes.
Freeholder Hertzberg?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Yardley?
Yes. Administrative report?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Director. Just would like to make mention that the Health and Human Services Director, Carol Navarrete, has advised that due to the federal government shutdown, there is a possibility that a number of our social services and social service recipients may be negatively impacted. The Social Services Director, Joan Brusso, has reached out to her contacts at the state to determine what, if any, stopgap measures the state may implement so as not to interrupt any benefits by individuals that would be otherwise impacted by the continued federal government shutdown. And other than that, I'll reserve any other comments that I have for closed session this evening.
Thank you. County Council?
Nothing for tonight, thank you.
Okay. Unfinished business, none. New business, none. Public session from the floor?
Please note, everyone is asked to keep their comments to 5 minutes or less, followed by a 3-minute response time from the freeholder board. Please state your name and print your name and municipality on the sign-in sheet. Please speak loud and clear.
Motion to open the floor for the public.
So,
Okay. All in favor?
You need a second.
Second, I'm sorry. All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? None? Okay, the floor is open to the public. Anyone wishing to address the board, please step forward. Please state your name.
Okay.
Come on.
You sure?
Please state your name and sign.
My name is Michelle Downing. I am from Vernon Township, and I am here to ask if, to advise, bring to your awareness, if anyone is not aware of the massive potential environmental disaster going on in Vernon with the dumping. Is everyone aware of it?
Yes.
I apologize. I thought someone else was coming with pictures to show you of today's activity. It's gotten to the point where twice in the last week, including New Year's Day, Sussex County DPW has had to come out to clean the roads because the dirt, the debris, the trees out. So it's not even just Vernon people. It's affecting the county. It's affecting our water. It's affecting our roadways. It's affecting everything. It's unbelievable. If you don't see it in person, I live a mile from there. Unbelievable. The massive mountain rising up out of the woods of garbage. Construction debris, toxic material. He's burying shipping containers that no one knows what's inside. Literally burying them. We have drone footage daily showing the differences. So I don't know what you can do, what you can't do. It appears the DEP is wiping their hands of us, but this is bad. It's bad, it's massive, and it goes way past Vernon. It goes way past the county. It's affecting everyone, and we need help. So I'm here to ask you to do something to help, because our mayor, our administration, I also work for the town. Some of you may recognize me, but I'm not here for the town. I'm here as a resident. we're doing everything we can. But it's dangerous. These trucks are reckless. They're speeding, they're spilling things, they're crashing into cars, they're crashing into signs, they're flipping over, they're cutting off school buses, they're intentionally driving at either excessive speeds or 2 miles an hour going up the hill. I mean, I'm behind them myself daily, living only a mile from there. If you haven't been able to visit the site, there's residents on the road who welcome people to come see. They will allow you onto the site. So again, I'm just asking you, if you're not aware of it, or you're not fully aware of it, or you have not seen it in person, look into it. Look, we have a petition with 35,000 signatures begging somebody to help stop this man and stop the dumping and fix the environmental disaster he's causing. Thank you.
I don't know what your process is, you can ask a question. So I don't know if you're aware, we have the same guy dumping in Sparta also.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, how far have you guys gotten in court with him? I believe we just levied a $200,000 fine.
Well, our issue is that it appears there's always a conflict, that it keeps getting thrown out of court. That there's over 64 summons against him.
Right.
There's a $75,000 fine in place. There was a judge that had given our police basically jurisdiction
Right.
to enforce the stop work order and block the road. Now my understanding is that another judge overruled that and gave his opinion that that wasn't up to our police to do, because it's a Sussex County stop work order, not a Vernon Township stop work order. That appeal hopefully should be heard by the end of the month.
What about your municipal judge, though? If that's the case, could you go back to your Vernon court and get a municipal stop?
Again, my understanding is that there's always a conflict brought up by his attorney, and so every time we try to go to a judge to have him hear the case, it gets thrown out.
My recommendation would be maybe have your prosecutor's office call Sparta and ask what we were doing.
Yes, and Warwick, New York, he's already been charged and convicted in Warwick, New York. And we meaning residents, I mean, there was a lot of residents that are doing things on their own to just try to get what we need, the clout that we need to make somebody, and I don't mean this somebody being you, but whoever it is that's way up here, that has the power to make something happen. So they followed the dump trucks on New Year's Day, and they were going back to Sparta, to where there was something shut down already from this dumping, and taking out of there and bringing it to Vernon. The lot next to this person's lot is on the contaminated list with the EPA because of the same dumping material that got dumped onto that lot. But the lot right parallel next to it, connecting to it, they're like, no, there's nothing wrong. The county health department came out last week and said they didn't see anything wrong. Like I said, I had pictures coming through somebody else that wasn't able to make it at the last minute. If you haven't seen them, they are available online. If anybody is interested in seeing something on my
We
phone.
saw them yesterday, we had a meeting on it, was it yesterday, the day before, we saw the
So
pictures.
how a county health inspector can stand on this property unless he was deliberately guided to this place where it's all right here in front of you with drone footages from an hour ago? Like I said, with shipping containers being buried, blue barrels buried, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stacked up pieces of pressure treated wood from who knows where, just stacked up. And
You had the head of the Department of Environmental Protection out there, the DEP.
yes, the commissioner,
And they did nothing.
they hugged the man and shook his hand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's your enforcement, it's your state enforcement, it's the DEP.
and they're wiping their hands of it.
What was their response to you guys?
We're on our own. That is
They're
their-
saying it's local
Yeah,
enforcement.
that's what they said.
Right, they're saying it's local enforcement.
This property specifically is in the Highlands region, it's in the wetlands region. We are part of the Newark watershed. It borders the National Wildlife Refuge. Just below it is Lake Walkill, the aquifer that's all under Vernon. Water from runoff was tested with lead levels. From my understanding, I did not see the report myself, similar to Michigan. How can that not be a problem?
You know, if I'm correct in saying this, that our health department is an arm of the DEP.
Right.
But if they tell us to back off, we can't enforce, and your problem is coming from the state.
Yeah,
The pro-
no, that's why I'm here, just.
But we can't, our health
You
department can't
can't.
enforce unless they tell us to enforce.
Right,
Okay, and right now they're telling us to back off.
right. And
So
so nobody
they believe that
understands.
what's going on comes under local enforcement.
Well, we don't have any laws to enforce anything in
You
place.
have a,
Mayor Shortway's trying to, and the council, they're
I
putting
would,
laws
I would
in
get in
place.
touch with Sparta, because Sparta is working with local enforcement.
Have somebody call the town manager in Sparta and ask what for the process that we've gone through, because we've been dealing with this for well over a year.
Yeah.
And it started with our officers, and we got our officers involved. We've been going after this guy for a long time. I don't know what the end result will be. My understanding is he has a lot of shell corporations. You go after one, he shuts it down, he starts another one.
Yeah.
But
Have you seen the mountain in Vernon?
I haven't seen yours. I mean, I live
I mean,
very.
you live there in
I
Sparta.
live very close to where it was going on in Sparta, so.
Yeah.
I have seen the trucks, I've seen where they go. Like I said,
Over
I know.
100 to 200 feet high.
We're watching it,
Over
we
4
have meetings,
acres.
like I said, we just had a meeting, but the health department can't enforce unless they're allowed to enforce.
Right. We're
So-
just, as residents, again, not as.
I understand, I understand frustration.
We're just trying to get as many people aware of the situation, paying attention to the situation, because somewhere in there, somebody is finally going to be able to do something and stand up to this person. And, I mean, no one wants to straight out say, why a state agency would
I have no idea.
turn their backs to it, but, I mean, there's plenty of different ideas.
That's the enforcement agency,
Well-
is the DEP.
Yeah.
it is odd.
It's very odd.
It is very
The
odd. that
same
the
dirt is listed
DEP
on an EPA website as contaminated.
And that the state
It's
DEP,
coming
the
across-
commissioner, well, the commissioner's there. I have been to the site. I was there with Senator, excuse me, I promoted him, Congressman Gottheimer.
Yeah.
And I did say it, and it is amazing to me what's there in the material. It is through a local ordinance, your local dumping ordinance, and you are going through the process. It's unfortunate that you seem to be getting tied up in the courts.
Yeah.
There are some solutions to that, but Vernon has to work that out. I don't understand why the process is taking so long.
No, but
But
as
I
I
would-
said, we're just trying to get as many voices behind us to help, because we know Vernon's trying, but there's always a roadblock.
We are having so many postponements at the court level as well,
And
so
every
the case
time-
isn't even being heard.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
And that I don't
He
understand.
literally laughs in our faces, literally. I mean, he'll stand there in the courtroom and laugh at it. And meanwhile, the trucks are backed up all the way down the road, waiting for their turn in the queue, just waiting. 10, 12 at a time.
Well, I
lined
can
up.
say our court has
We
been
do need-
successful.
Yeah, we do need to move on. Thank you
Yes,
very much
no,
for
thank you
speaking.
for hearing that.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to come up and speak? Please state your name.
Hi, good evening. Peter Knight from Frankfurt. I want to pick up a couple of things that so happened. Freeholder Fantasia brought up about the first thing about the text. This is a very important thing. I've had firsthand experience with it. My daughter is an equestrian. As a teenager, she was exposed to texts being around horses, hay, bales of hay, et cetera, et cetera. Fortunately, they caught it very early. She had a target on her, but they treated it as nothing. A young man that she had been dating was not diagnosed with Lyme disease, and the poor guy joined the Navy, was in the intelligence division, and was later on summarily being thrown out of the Navy until they discovered that he had mature, severe Lyme disease that was causing issues. So I would encourage the freeholders to, especially in New Jersey, we have Rutgers University that has done studies on this. And even if it's just a matter of providing information to school children or through our health department, just having the information handy, I think would be very beneficial. The other thing is one of the resolutions that Freeholder Fantasia questioned about. This was Resolution F about the competitive contracting for vendors, which I guess are attorneys. From my experience in the corporate world, when certainly a sum of $340,000 had to be signed off, the individual or individuals that had to sign off on it had all the details. Okay, how many, this is a competitive process, who was asked to compete, how was the decision made to select X, Y, and Z, how the calculations were derived. Mr. Pop gave a good explanation, but it's apparent that the freeholders didn't have this. And I would think that in the future, what I would encourage freeholders, not vote on something that just has a big round number on it without, knowing the details. I think that's, a very important issue. And to that, I see resolutions not only today, but in the past, where certain assumptions are made that the freeholders are privy to names or why something is being done. And just in this session and the session before, through abstentions, I can see that some of these items that are being voted on, like tonight, resolution I, appointing somebody without a name attached to it. I just think that's wrong. So
Well, it's in the full resolution, which follows the agenda.
But it's not. But I think it was obvious that they weren't aware of it. So why not have the name here? It's.
All the documentation is here. If it's not on the title, you can read the resolution. It's there. Normally it is on the title, so we must have missed that.
But
Okay.
I won't debate this issue, but it wouldn't hurt for the public to know whose names. That doesn't have that.
If I could, I think this was a anomaly.
Okay.
Quite frankly,
Yeah, I don't know.
because normally the names are there, and we knew who the person was, the name wasn't there. The name is in the whole body of the resolution, but it wasn't here. That's how I knew it was.
Well, that's why I was suggesting.
I think it's right, and I
It
think
wasn't
we need
meant
to
as
make sure.
it's a constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Your suggestion. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
If I can just make a reply, sometimes, again, we may know the name. I was well aware of who the individual was, but for the benefit of the public, because it is missing, and you're right on that sheet,
Yeah.
when you ask for an explanation, so that it can be publicly discussed and presented to the public, because everything we do is supposed to be up here.
I know Andrea, and I think she's probably a good choice, but.
5 members of this board knew it was
Yes.
Andrew.
Okay.
And we-
So,
Just a mistake. It was a
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Anyone else wish to address the Freeholder Board?
Good evening, I'm Andrew Pitzer, also from Vernon, and this is my second time coming up to the Freehold discussing the situation in Silver Spruce. Freeholder Director Yardley, you've been there, you've seen this. Just for your information, this has been going on since 2008. But I also want to bring out a point. You say this is a town issue. The sign that's up there from Stockport Order is by the Sussex County Soil Conservation, and it's not being enforced. And you say the town
The
has to
Sussex,
enforce it.
well,
And,
go ahead.
but the situation being is that every time Mayor Shortway tries to have his people enforce this, there's a lawsuit countered on him. So where's the support for our town? And from the Sussex County, yes, we have, Sparta has the same problem. But this is not only going on for the last couple of years. It's been going on for over 10 years now. And I've stood in front of you, and Freeholder Patel, you've talked to some of our residents also, Tony.
I hear about it all the time, constantly.
We are frustrated, as you've heard before. And I believe as a team, you can't point to one and say, you take care of it, you take care of it. Now, there's been a whole group there, and Kate's been here, and just blindsided us, doesn't even want to be part of it. Our police officers are doing everything they can to write summonses. Yes, the road is a mess, now the county has to come every day and clean it. And they were there for 4 hours today. That's my money, as well as yours, being wasted, and we're not enforcing this. And yes, Sparta has the same problem. When do we stop it?
But Sparta's been moving through the courts. You can't seem to move through the courts.
I just talked to our town council person, Gene Murphy, and it is now been moved again. Okay?
I don't know how many times you can postpone something.
Yeah, I understand the judge allowed it.
It's the judge that's doing it.
Yeah. Now it's out of Hardiston.
They can't get it
Maybe
through.
Morris or Passaic County it's going through. And, you know, the thing is that there's been a lot going on here. It's frustrating. And I live approximately 200 yards from it by Lake Line. Every day, 4 to 5 trucks an hour. Bang, bang, bang. That's the dumping trucks. Now it's already been stated. Now we have construction lumber going up there. If you look at the, and I just saw the footage. Now we're building another wall to build more. Right. Now, as I said before, the Sussex County Soil Conservation has a stop work order. We went to one of their meetings. My wife and I were the only people they've seen in months. And they couldn't tell us anything because they're in litigation also. Right?
They said that when they were at the meeting here.
Yeah.
The litigation.
So it's getting to the point of, you know, I went down and saw the mayor, he wasn't there, and I talked to the police chief, and they're frustrated.
Well, everybody who should be giving you support from the state on down is not. And we're sitting here ourselves wondering why.
Yeah.
I've never quite seen anything like it, only because the DEP is usually quick to enforce, and here they're standing off.
The cave is pushing back, and there's, you know, this whole thing that's gonna cost too much. How much is it gonna cost? Now, this group has started a GoFundMe page to try to get lawyers. Our government is failing us. You're failing us. Yes, you're saying, well, we looked into it. I need you to help us to do this. But in my opinion, this is the second time I've stood up here, because I stood up in another town. You're failing us. Because they're not helping us any further, but others say it's a town issue. I just heard it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very upset with that. I'm very upset. Don't tell it's a town issue, it's our issue, because now we have it in Florida as well, right? And we can't stop it.
Well, let me ask you quick. What laws do we have that would cause us to get in there and resolve this? What laws?
Well, that's easy, aren't they?
Okay, that's the problem. It's not that we don't want to help you. There are no laws that allow the county to go in on our level. Go in. It is a local issue. There is some legislation to change that, but we cannot arbitrarily go in and go after this man without having the legal reasons to do that. Otherwise, we end up in a lawsuit for, I guess it's harassment. I'm not a lawyer. That's the problem. It's not that we don't want to help you. We have been up there.
I want to ask you to put more pressure on the DEP, the Cape Special, and I'd like you to go to the governor, or all the people that are also running the governor, like your help in that area. I'm not asking you to go legally after this situation with Mr. Wallace. I'm asking you to go up to our government and ask for more help and put more pressure on them. Because when Kate came there, and I heard it from the chief of police, she did not want to be part of this at all. It was a cloudy day, and he told me, he said, psychologically, this woman ignored the whole thing. Dark glasses, the whole 9 yards. She told her group just not to say anything. And this I got from the chief of police in Berkeley. So I need you to help us go up through the government, put pressure on McCabe, Murphy, and that's what I'm asking for you. And I believe the rest of the residents of Vernon are asking for the same thing. And I think Sparta as well. So anything you can do. But as far as legally, I know you say there's nothing there. building codes are being violated, it's a residential area, it's being used as
But
a
building
business.
code violations are local ordinances. You can't enforce unless you have an ordinance to enforce.
And we
That's
can't
our
go to court-
problem.
And we can't go to court
Because you're
getting
stuck in the
pushed
court.
off.
I agree. I mean, we talk about this and we're frustrated ourselves. We're sitting there wondering how in the world any of this is happening. And to think that the enforcement power of the DEP is rendered powerless in this situation.
And Katie was part of another group.
I understand
As I
that.
said,
But you
short-
had all of your representatives there. You had your
I know.
freedom,
The property that they're dumping on, is it owned by him?
yes.
It's 3 silver
Private
spruce,
owned.
all of it. It's 3.86 I'm just under 4 acres, I
So,
think.
let me ask you this. If there's fines levied, they're not paid, can the town take the land? Put a lien on the land and take the land over, shut it down?
No, but you can enforce the penalties.
How
By a
if-
lien against the property.
Right, that's
That's
what
what
I'm
you're
saying.
talking about.
Yes.
Right, but there's other enforcement actions. I mean, you mentioned soil conservation, and you used the
The
name
sign that's up-
Sussex
the sign
County.
that's up in
and
front of the- on front of
Sussex
that building.
County, that is a state agency run by the state of New Jersey.
Yeah.
It is not a county agency, and we don't have anything to do with them other than that they have that name. I mean, zoning is an issue. It seems to be, by any of the pictures I've seen, commercial activity in a residential zone. I wrote a memo back in September 24th to some people in Vernon who had asked us about, you're welcome to a copy of it.
I like the thank you.
About enforcing zoning by a specific land use law in the Superior Court. We want to get an injunction. I don't know whatever happened, but we have
Actually, I have seen that
done,
letter. Yeah.
we have made efforts to
Give them information.
provide that assistance. You're welcome to have another copy of it.
Okay.
But I don't know what happened.
As
But
I
as a
said,
zoning
I
case-
think these postponements have pushed a lot of that. into
I
that.
don't know that he did. Did the township try to get an injunction in Superior Court for
Yes.
zoning? Not for soil conservation, for zoning.
I
And that's what we were,
So, I could be mistaken,
To
but
the
I believe
ex-
so.
well, I'll give you a copy of this too if you want. I mean, I've given it out to people in Vernon.
Lawyers don't usually give free advice. So I take
Well,
it.
it was free. It was free.
No, we can't know what it has.
As far
worked
as
that out a while ago
also,
to
if
give
it's in
information.
foreclosure with 5 other liens, it
No,
does
I'm
nothing.
talking about getting an injunction against.
It is, the property is.
If property's in foreclosure with 5 other liens against it, it
Well, that
doesn't.
affects one question that
Right,
was
right.
asked
No, but your
about
question
collecting
is the
money,
bank if it's in-
but it doesn't affect the judge, the jurisdiction of the
So I don't want
Superior
to collect the
Court.
money. You evict him off the
Right, right,
property,
right.
and then, now it's trespassing, and now it's jail time.
Exactly. So that's one way, but another way, and the simplest way to do it, again, it's just my opinion, I'm not trying to criticize anyone, but the simplest, as a municipal attorney, I've done this dozens of times. You just go down and get an injunction. You can't do commercial uses in a residential zone of any kind. And it's an automatic statutory injunction. And the fact that you all are welcome to see it, we did try to
Right.
help in different ways, but
Speak with Mayor Shortway and Gene Murphy about this, and they come back for advice from you, that'd be okay.
oh, I talked to Gene.
What are you talking
All the
about?
time. I used to be the town attorney in Vernon. I'm trying to, have a rooting interest, you might say.
Maybe somebody could coordinate a meeting between Vernon, Sparta, and the district.
And see, John McMean had this case.
John's done a great job.
And he was following up, he's a Sparta municipal prosecutor, and he had it, and then they just tell me with this latest transfer that John somehow was taken out of the case.
Last I talked to him, they had levied a pretty large fine.
For Sparta, he had taken it all the way through, because he's their prosecutor. But
Oh, I'm talking about Sparta.
He came to Newton at one time, and it was in Newton, and he's the prosecutor in Newton, and he got into the case for a while and was working on it. And then suddenly he wasn't, and I don't know why that
That's
is.
the problem.
And now I don't know who is, because I didn't hear where it went. But that's,
Okay, all right,
I think we spent enough time. I just wanted to come up here and I'm asking the freeholders to take this up with the government further. I mean, what we've done locally, we'll continue to fight locally. But I am asking to put more pressure on McCabe and also Governor Murphy. With that, I appreciate that step in that direction.
That conversation.
Thank you.
We'll have that.
We'll have that conversation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to address? Anyone else wish to address the
Would
board?
it be possible for me to have a moment again?
We only give
shot.
one shot, but
It's a slow night.
this is.
I'll be very brief. And hearing this, in my corporate experience, I handled waste and DOT issues. If there's reason to believe that hazardous materials are being transported there, then it's also a significant issue for DOT by transporting hazardous waste without proper documentation. Each incident would be susceptible to a very large fine. So when I hear about pressure treated wood, that's actually a hazardous waste. So even if they can't affect what's being done right there, perhaps using county roads and state roads, DOT can step in under their authority. Again, if hazardous waste is being transported incorrectly, and maybe it is, because I doubt anybody's at that dump site collecting that documentation.
I'm assuming DOT does periodic checkpoints for this kind of stuff.
What do you mean on the roads?
The issue really is if the DEP says it's not a violation, there's nothing
Hazardous
wrong
waste.
there.
Yeah, but I think DOT has separate authority, I think is what
Yeah,
he said.
no, I would be curious as to whether the DOT would start enforcing. But that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point, thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else wish to address the board? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close the,
Need a motion to close.
yeah, motion to close.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good. Okay, reminders that the agenda is always posted on the website. Just reminders of meetings, the Disability Service Advisory meeting is here. Human Services, Youth Services, Advisory Commission, Agriculture Board, and regular freeholder meeting are here. All of those dates are on the website. Any further business before the board? Okay, we have an executive session, closed session.
Yes. Whereas the subject matters about to be discussed may be excluded from the public portion of the meeting by resolution of the Board of Chosen Freeholders as an exception to the Open Public Meetings Act pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12, and whereas it appears necessary for the Board of Chosen Freeholders to discuss such matters in executive session, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Sussex, in accordance with the provisions of NJSA 10:4-12, and NJSA 10:4-13, that the board at this time enter into executive session from which the public shall be excluded, and be it further resolved that the general nature of the subjects to be discussed relative to the following items authorized by NJSA 10:4-12, as designated below. Number 7, matters relating to litigation, negotiations, and the attorney-client privilege, pending litigation and contract negotiations of PBA. Be it further resolved that the deliberations conducted in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Sussex County Board of Chosen Freeholders, or provided by law that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. And be it further resolved that upon completion of the business for which the board has entered into the executive session, the board shall reconvene and resume its meeting open to the public. Wait a second, I lost my page. Sorry. And be it further resolved, the board expects to or not to reconvene in open session to take formal action.
We'll reconvene, but I don't anticipate any formal
Okay.
action.
also not to take formal action after returning from executive session except to adjourn the regular meeting.
Can I have a motion to adopt the executive session resolution and enter into executive session?
Make a motion?
John Schuertzberg.
Second.
Debbie Patel, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We indicate